Hi, I'm Michelle Beauchamp. This lesson is called Removing Personal Blinders. This is about recognizing that we all have blind spots, that we all have bias, and that doesn't make us bad people. This is about awareness so that we can replace the stereotypes and the bias with tools so that we can better support people who we work with. We encourage your team members to be mindful about what they say and do. That's what this lesson is about. We start off by talking about, well, what are microaggressions? We talk about microaggressions. Just by the name microaggressions, it's heavy. There's some emotion that goes along with it. Now, there are some other ways to describe microaggressions. One of them are subtle acts of exclusion. And then another one is subtle acts of inclusion. So, what are microaggressions? There are subtle acts or words that typically are targeted to underrepresented groups like women and people of color, LGBTQ community. So there's a lot of different people that they're targeted to, and the result is that they disparage others. We give examples of what they sound like. They're subtle comments and body language. There are different ways that people do it. Here's another thing that's important to recognize. They are usually unintentional and sometimes they're intentional. Most of the time, though, we don't recognize that what we say or do is hurtful to others. So, this is what it's about. It's about the awareness so that we can continue on our path to become stronger allies and recognize it. Once we explain about what microaggressions are, we begin to talk about the impact of microaggressions. That when people get said something to, they hurt, or they might be angry, or they feel as though they're lonely and they suffer in silence. And you know what happens in this situation? It feels like a toxic environment. And when people work in toxic environments, they're not able to perform to their highest potential or to the potential that you know and the expectations of performance that you have for your people. We explain the impact, and then we share that there are roles. There are roles within microaggressions. There are three core roles: the aggressor, which by its name, it's the person who's committing the microaggression, the person who's saying or doing something that's hurting someone else. And there's the recipient, which is the person who, well, they're experiencing it. They're the person who's getting it done to or said to. And then there's the observer who sees or witnesses the word or the actions. And these are all three very important roles. And it's important to know that they're dynamic. They're not labels. We're not always going to be any one of them. We're going to sometime be the aggressor, again, intentionally or unintentionally. We're going to sometime be the observer and see it happen. And then sometime, yeah, we're going to be the recipient. So we provide responses for people that participate in this about how to respond when they see or do something. So for example, the aggressor, when they learn that they've done something that hurt someone else, we provide tools for them to know how to respond. In other words, I'm sorry that I made you feel bad. I'm learning and I won't do that again. And for the recipient to be bold and confident and tell the person, this hurt me, and let me tell you why. And for the observer to choose to be an ally and say, you know what, I saw that or I heard that, and I didn't think that that sounded so supportive. How else could you have handled that? So we do spend some energy with the participants and help them understand this. And we provide them some worksheets so that they can reflect. And you know what's important about this whole thing too, is that when they recognize that they might have said or done something, not to beat themselves up, because this is all about growth on the journey to becoming stronger allies. So our intent is to encourage your team members to be mindful of what they say and do. Again, I'm Michelle Beauchamp, and we're really looking forward to this training.